All right, we're continuing along in our Faith and Finance. We're on Unit 8. So if you'll take your workbook, you should have a workbook, turn to page 88, Unit 8, page 88. And we're going to talk about managing debt. This is something that everyone struggles with, okay? This is a difficult thing to do. And we want to walk through this one just very diligently and make sure we can see some ways. And we'll look at some examples from Eva and Isaac about how they struggle with this and what to do with this. So here we go. Look on page 80. At the very top starts out. Proverbs talks a lot about being in debt. Here's a particular verse. Proverbs 22:7 says, "The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a servant to the lender." You get that? Those who borrow, that's you and me, become servants to the lender, okay? And the rich are ruling over us because of that. So just for a moment, okay, I want you to pause the video real quick here, and you see there's a question there, okay? What differences do you hear between message from Proverbs and these cultural messages that talk a lot about easy money? It's always after good. Take a minute and think about that real quick. Pause the video, come right back, answer that question. All right, that might have been one of the most difficult questions we've asked so far, okay? Because again, culture tells us one thing, but Proverbs clearly talks to us about something differently. So look at the story here, again on page 88, Eva and Isaac's encounter credit. So we haven't really talked about them charging stuff yet, but we're about to right here. Look at this. Continuing, here's more experience. Let's go down to the story. As Eva and Isaac sit down to watch their favorite show, they feel hopeful tonight. The family is learning to say, that's good. It's a really good feeling, okay? Eva smiles and puts her feet up. They have a long way to go, but she and Isaac are finally on the same page about money. That is sometimes the most difficult things, folks. I'm going to share that with you real quick. Getting family on the same page, husband and wife, family, whoever, on the same page is a very difficult, but it is critical. And you've got to do that. They're there and they're happy and there's peace and there's lower anxiety because of it. Look, but when you know it, they just can't catch a break. You ever feel that way? Halfway through the show, the family TV goes out. The good thing is that Eva and Isaac are in the position to afford a new one. They've worked hard to save. That very night, they begin to shop around using some practices from the thrift they've learned. Remember we talked about thrift shopping earlier. Eva finds a coupon online at Stuff Mart's website. A big screen TV is only $450. When they got to the store, the sales rep lowered the installation and delivery fee to only $50. Eva put the TV on a new credit card offered to her at the purchase. If they make the minimum payment of $25.40 per month, the TV seems affordable. $25.40 a month, not bad. It'll take just over 2 years to pay the TV off, maybe less, because now remember Isaac has a new job. After attending the job fair, Isaac puts out a lot of applications. Finally, the good news comes. He is offered to work as a cook at Larry's Diner. But the boss is really strict, and the job pays well, and it is full-time. Eva and Iva celebrate. They want him to excel at the job, so they need to head back to Stuff Mart and find a deal on men's apparel. He needs new work clothes. They pick out 2 pairs of slacks, 2 white shirts, and some black shoes. Total cost is $80, on the top of page 89. They put it on another credit card. Since they already have the TV debt to get together, they decide that Isaac's first paycheck will go toward paying off the $80 completely. A month later, even Isaac did as they planned. They pay off the uniform purchases because Isaac has been faithful in his job. His boss promoted him to regular day shift hours. They're developing a good relationship. Isaac feels great. Finally, he's able to care for his family well. It's such a great feeling when you feel like you're taking care of your family and you're doing hard work. Their finances are going great until Eva gets the credit card bill. And then I always wonder, things are going well until the bill comes, right? Well, here comes the bill. She calculates the details of their purchases on both the TV and the uniform, and look what she finds out on the chart. So you see there's Stuff Mart, the TV is $500. The annual rate is 19.8. The monthly payment is $25.40. The total interest charge is $109, okay, almost a fifth of the price of the TV. Then you look at the uniform credit, $80. There's 14%, but they paid it off in 1 month, so the interest charge is 0. Always wonderful here, 0. So take a moment on the rest of the page there and just take a moment and just answer the questions there. I want you to reread that a little bit, look at that, pause the video, reread that, look that over, and then answer those, actually, about 5 questions there, and then come back when you're finished. All right, we're on the top of page 90, my inventory credit. Isn't it great when you get to talk about yourself? Well, sometimes, unless you're talking about stuff like this, then you kind of go, yeah, I really don't want to talk about this. So let's talk about your own use of credit. And so look at there's kind of a credit inventory there. And what you need to do there is just take a moment. We're not going to pause the video this time, but just take a moment, look through those, and see which one best fits you. The first one there says, I often pay off my bills late with interest. That's you right there. Be honest on this. You go down there, it says, I get a lot of calls from creditors. I've taken out at least one payday loan to pay off credit. Just for a moment, I'm just going to count to like 5 in my head here. Put your best, and it could be, by the way, more than one. All right, I hope you were honest with that and saw that's pretty tough. And some of those things you may look, it's funny when you think things and you think about it, but then when you actually see them on paper, they kind of stand out a little bit more. And I hope that whatever was there, because it's really important. Bottom of page 90, we have a kind of an author's paraphrase from Deuteronomy 15, 1 through 11. A little bit long, but let me read this to you, okay? It talks about God's intentions regarding debt. My people, every 7 years you must announce, the Lord says loans do not need to be paid back. If you have loaned money to another Israelite, you can no longer ask for payment. No one in Israel should ever be poor. The Lord your God has given you this land. Remember, they've given him the promised land, and he said, so I've given this to you, and he has promised to bless you if you obey his laws and teachings. After the Lord your God gives land to each of you, there will be poor Israelites in town where you live. If you are there, don't be selfish with your money. Instead, be kind and lend them what they need. And be careful. Don't say to yourself, soon to be the 7th year, then I won't be able to get my money back. It would be horrible for you to think that way. It would be so selfish to refuse help to the poor. Then your family, you should be happy to give to the poor when they need it, because when the Lord will bless you in every single thing that you do. All right, this is kind of an unusual passage, and there's a lot of history here, the way this is set up, but it's just talking about the attitude, really from the other side, toward lending and toward giving and toward, you're kind of go back to the one before. So take a moment, pause the video, and answer that next question. All right, so we're on page 91, kind of toward the middle there. Isaac and Eva tackled debt. So they got to figure out how to work out this debt thing. And so to manage your debt, you need to know how much you have and to make a plan to control it. So pull out all your bills, take a piece of paper, write these things down, figure out where you're at. That's exactly what Isaac and Eva do. So look what they do. Eva was astonished when she heard about the real cost of interest from Gloria. We don't think a lot about interest. We hear these percentages, and we go, oh, okay, that doesn't sound like that much. But when we really get into it, and her friend Gloria is a wise older friend from her church, she decides she couldn't afford to ignore this any longer. To find out how much they were paying in interest, Eva and Isaac listed the name, the balance, and the rate of each debt, both payday loans and credit card loan. Then they calculated the amount of monthly interest they were paying each on these. Let's take a minute and look at this, okay? And so you talk about the thing. There's the Stuff Mart. There's the $500. That's at $8.25 per month. The Credit Plus would be $2.92. They got one at Cash. Central Cash Advance. Another $1.96. And then JP Finance, they've got $1,000 debt there at 22%. It's $18.33. The debt is $1,800, which doesn't sound that much, but look, every single month they're paying $31.16 in interest. What could you do each month with $31.16? I could figure out quite a few things to do with them. That's a couple of nice meals and this, that, and the other. They see that. They look at the example and they realize, for example, $8.25 each month is going for that TV. When Eva and Isaac realized they were spending over $30 in interest alone in their debts every single month, they developed a strategy. This is the key. This is why you're taking this course. How do you develop a strategy to work on your savings plan, to work on your spending plan, to work on getting out of debt, and the things we're going to talk about coming forward with other savings and things like that. With Gloria's help, remember they're wise friends. It's always good to have a wise friend. I hope you do. If you've got someone you trust, go to them and talk with them. And come to see us. Let us talk to you. We'll talk about this a little later about working with some of the legitimate places like some of the credit unions and the banks around here to work with. They can help you with this too. But with Gloria's help, they found a reputable credit union. That's what they did here, that would consolidate their debt into 7% interest. Okay, so they're going to take all those, what were there, 4 or 5 debts they were out before, and put them all into one. They'll pay all of those off. The credit union will. They'll put all, and the interest is only 7%. That's way less than all those were. Still some interest, but way less. They transferred all their debt balances to the loan and canceled all but one credit card because that one had no annual fee. All right. They committed to use that card for emergency purposes only. It's never bad. If you've got a credit card and to use that when there's a real emergency, sometimes things do come up. And then you figure out, you use that card, and then as soon as you can, figure out how to get it paid off. Then it says that they added up a new monthly payment to their spending plan to tackle the debt. So again, take just a moment and look at the rest of the page there. There's a couple of questions there. What key steps have Eva and Isaac taken to manage their debt? So write down what you see that they did to make that happen. And then look at the bottom there. After consolidating, Eva and Isaac will pay an interest. How much they're going to pay each month? It's going to walk down there a little bit. You'll see that number there. So just take a moment, figure that out, and we'll talk about that. Pause the video, read page 92, and answer those questions. All right, so see as they got down to the bottom, look at what happened. They consolidated those debts. That, remember, it was $31.16, okay? And once they consolidated, they still had some interest. The debt had not gone away. But now it's $10.68. So that's almost 21 bucks. 21 extra dollars each month because they knocked down that debt. So jump over to the next page here, 93. Just for a minute, I want you to pause again the video, and I want you to think through. You may not get all of these because you may have to add some later. But begin to write it. Write down the credit card name, the amount of debt. If you can see it, you might have to look this up later. The annual percentage rate, and those last two things you may have to come back and get to, but just for a minute, right? Or go do them and just come back and finish this video later. It doesn't really matter. But take those. If you need some more room, if you got more than there's 7 spaces there, then just keep on listening that down below. Pause the video. Take care of that real quick. All right, flip over to the page 94. Hopefully you got that. Again, you may need to go back later and finish that up. You may need to look up some of those numbers. But it's important to know where you stand. If you don't, it'll just continue to build and you won't realize what you're trying to take care of. If you just honestly look at, even though it may be shocking, even maybe it may be a little bit depressing to see that number, you need to know what it is, because when you do that, then you can commit to a plan to how you can reduce that. And you'll see that. So think about that at the top of the page on page 94. What can I do to help reduce this plan? And again, it could be coming and seeing us so we can talk through a plan. It could be setting an appointment with, again, a local credit union or bank to help you through that. Maybe it doesn't, that particular, so not may have to have 2 or 3 ways to make it work, but you at least got to try. And then on the bottom page there, obtain a credit report. Kind of find out where you stand on your credit. And the credit union can help you with that, but you can also go to, there's some information there that you can go. There's 2 or 3 different places there that you can check out. If you're not quite sure how to do that, then come see us. We'll help you pull that up and make sure you've got that information. Page 95 kind of gives an example of what a typical credit payment or credit card payment normally looks at. It usually gives you your summary of all those things, and then if you'll flip over page 96, you can know it. So managing credit, managing debt, I should say, this is difficult. It's a hard thing to do. We all struggle with this. Again, we're here to help you with that. If you would like to sit down and talk about this, we'll talk to you. We'll set up an appointment. We'll tell you what to bring, and we'll sit down and go through this. Again, you've got some pages there with your daily income, your daily expenses. If you know, the reason they're there every single week is because you're changing, you're updating them. You may go, oh, you know what? I was planning my daily expenses, and I forgot to add this particular thing. And so here we go. Let's add this in. But again, this is something to think about. It's something to pray about. It's something to discuss with your family and to pray some more about it, and then decide how you're going to take action. And again, we're here to help you with that. You give us a call. We'll be glad to help you. Again, way to go. You just finished Unit 8. I'll see you next week for Unit 9.